Welcome to Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. The storm system that brought so much weather is going to be a slow mover. Although the worst of the weather is by us, it's going to remain unsettled in the region through early Friday. After Friday, we'll see the weather change. Until then, it's going to be colder than average through Friday. We're going to have some showers, especially in parts of Utah, Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, southern Wyoming through early Friday as the upper level low will meander for a little bit. Beautiful weekend weather's coming. I mean, it is going to be spectacular weather this weekend. September known around here for some good weather, and this weather that's coming is going to be directly opposite of what we just went through. I want to talk a little bit about the Sweetwater and Uinta County windstorm in Wyoming that also impacted the Wasatch Front of Utah. As this Arctic front came through, we saw a windstorm for the ages along with snow. We'll talk a little bit about how that all came together. This is where we are today. We've got the upper level low right near Moab, Utah, spinning around, and the main frontal system is now really basically now pushed the real cold air relative to average off to the east. But this upper level low today is going to stay right there. By Thursday afternoon, it only moves to about Grand Junction, so it's a real slow mover. But notice as we back up here, see the red and the gray? So it's still a pretty potent upper level low, but by tomorrow it begins to weaken but lift northeast. As it lifts northeast though, cool air aloft and clouds and moisture will be associated with the upper level low. So today, tonight, Thursday night into Friday morning, in this region right here, and then out here, there's going to be some shower activity. Nothing heavy or nothing organized, but there's going to be a little bit of rain and snow shower activity redeveloping Thursday night into Friday morning as the upper level low moves through. By Saturday noon, the low's up into Minnesota. High pressure is building in by Saturday, and it's headed east. So this is going to give us just spectacular weather by Sunday. High pressures over the Four Corners area, and we basically have a reversal of fortune. We have a nice big high moving on in. This is going to give us beautiful September weather Saturday, Sunday, and probably well into the early portions of next week. By early next week, we have a Pacific trough coming into Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. Good news, this area right here actually early next week may get rain to help out with the fire activity in the Pacific Northwest and at least Central and Northern California. We expect this system not to dig into the Rockies, but kind of move across the northern tier of the Rockies and northern plain states by the middle of next week. So I think we'll avoid any big storm system or any big cold front early next week. It'll be good news if this area could get some rain. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what happened in southwestern Wyoming and northeastern Utah as the Arctic front came on through, because it was essentially an unforecasted windstorm that brought hurricane force winds that a lot of folks are going to remember for years to come as it came on through. What I'm showing you is basically how it all came together. Now this is by Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Time. You can see that the upper level low was swinging in just south and southwest of the Salt Lake City area. This is where the Arctic front was at that time. It was basically moving on through, and on the ground, we had these very strong surface winds bringing in that very, very cold air, and here it is. By Tuesday morning, the Arctic air was moving in this direction. Now, one thing to remember about the properties of air, the colder the air is, the more dense it is because the air molecules are packed close together. There's more density with cold air as compared to warmer air, which is down here. When you take air and you move it through gaps in our terrain, you tend to accelerate the wind. And this is exactly what happened with this wind event. What I'm showing you right now is what the sea surface pressures were, or basically what your barometer would say for Tuesday morning. What I want to show you is this is the area right here that experienced the high wind event. What you have up here in Montana is high pressure that extends out to here. And you see these numbers here, 1036, 1039. These are pressures in millibars. You get high pressure when the air is really cold. The air is more dense, the pressure is higher. Here is low pressure, 994 in southeastern Utah. The air relative to average is still warm down here, so the air is less dense. You take this pressure gradient, you have high pressure, you have low pressure here, you have a natural gradient of pressure that goes from high to low. It's being bolstered by the Arctic air, which is more dense. Now, when you squeeze the air through the Continental Divide, remember, the Continental Divide in Wyoming is interrupted with a gap, and that gap is right where I-80 goes through. So this gap between the end of the Wind River Mountains right here, through South Pass, through Rawlins to the north part of the Snowy Range, this area right here is like a door. So as the air gets funneled in with that Arctic front, it gets squeezed right through here, gets squeezed. When you squeeze a fluid or gas through a constricted area, it's like putting your thumb over a garden hose. So what we had here is a situation where we had a wind accelerator, and it came in from the northeast, and it came in with cold, dense air. So you had wind gusts in the magnitude of 80 miles an hour in this area here in southwestern Wyoming, in the Wasatch Front of Utah, as the air was accelerated due to the very cold air here, the very warm here on the other side of it, and the huge difference in pressure. Now, this constriction of air through the Continental Divide is what makes I-80 so windy, but usually from a west to east direction when the pressures change there. So a bit of an unusual event, but anytime strong cold fronts come through here, we can have these high wind events. We have had high wind events in the past in parts of north central Colorado that have caused huge blowdowns of trees before. Doesn't happen very often, but the extreme cold for this time of year that came in with the front contrasted with the very hot conditions that were west of the divide as the front came on through, made a perfect setup for that windstorm to blow through this area here. And to have the winds come from an east-northeast direction instead of a westerly direction also had an impact, because the trees that grow around here are used to prevailing winds like this. So the root systems aren't really built to handle winds like this, and therefore it's easier for a lot of trees to get knocked down, and that's exactly what happened. Lots and lots of trees down across southwestern Wyoming as well as the Wasatch Front of Utah because of that wind event. Here's what the wind forecasts were by that time frame Tuesday. Now, these were under forecasted for sure, but you can see the red and orange here going back into the area of the high wind event. So you can see the terrain right here, and you can see where the wind corridor, where that air was constricted through the Continental Divide, and you can see that's the area where the winds came through. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Talk to you on Thursday.